Immediately after the tribulations of these days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And there shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven, with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with great sound of a trumpet. And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heavens to the other. Now, the reason I am quoting this, I think we're living in perilous times. We're in the last days. Things are happening very fast and furious. There's wars and rumors of wars and earthquakes and floods. But we're living in the Saturday night of time. I'm very sure of that. Now, I'm a firm believer that the Savior of the world was crucified, he died, and he rose from the grave, from the tomb. I think he was immortal just like we are. He walked on the shores of Galilee, he preached to the people, and if he can do it, why can't we? If he was resurrected, he said, the life and the resurrection of the world. So I do expect to be resurrected, to be with my friends and my loved ones. If these things are not true, I don't think I have anything with the beast of the field. I've got to have, my overhead is so much, $10,000 over the last 15 to 20 years, we have to have at least $10,000 just cover the overhead. Anything I can make above that is ours. Some years we make more and some years we make less. So we have our problems in this business, the rough ones. Every day I've got to be going and take care of them. Up to one ranch and up to the other. And I have that horse and I pick up all summer going from one ranch to the other and down to the farm, changing the water. Now, you'd think of an outfit like this, you could hire a lot of help, but this help gets to the point where you can't afford to hire it. Why, I do what I can and just let the rest go. It's a wonderful life. I enjoy it. That's the reason I stay with it. I like to work with livestock. I like the range. I like the mountains. I like the desert. It's a wonderful life, but after a while you get so you don't like it so well when you see that you're not making anything.
Get some over there to go get as well as these.
I'm on these deserts. I've laid out there of a night, sometimes not wanting to, but I've got lost at night moving a herd of sheep and had to just throw my saddle blanket down and stay and lay there all night. And I've looked into the heavens and watched the Milky Way and the stars and watched them fall, and it's quite a question. I want to lay there some night all night and look it over and hear the coyotes howl and the birds make their call at night. Then when I go on the ocean and see the fish in the sea, I've crossed the ocean and all of these the creations and things, I marvel at it. because this spirit came from somewhere and it's going somewhere. This body is made of the dust of the earth, or so to speak. It's created. And, to me, it's very fascinating. When I was a boy, I could buy a good pair of shoes for $2.50. I'd buy a very good saddle for $45. I'd buy a pickup for $700. A pickup cost me close to $4,000. These shoes I got on about $14, $16 a pair. My saddle cost about $170. And everything else has gone out. But I'm selling cattle today as cheap as I was 35 years ago. 30 and 35 years ago. So you can see why the cattleman is selling out. Little outfits can't survive. And that's it. Makes me feel kind of bad because they've been the backbone of our country, the farmer and the rancher. We're going to see these men sell out, and a few men own all of the property. Then the time will come, I fear the time will come like it has in Russia. They'll say, well, our trouble is these landlords own it all. We got to do away with them. And that's what had happened. So finally the government then takes over and owns all the land, or socialism takes over. And it makes me feel bad because I've spent a lifetime at this, and some of the greatest men I know, great frontiersmen and men in our town who's really amounted to something. It's been livestock men, farmers, some of the choicest men we've raised here. They're practical men. They've got good business heads on them. They've learned it the hard way. And now I'm very much for schooling and for all of these things, and will help make our country better, but I can see where we're going down the drain as a nation. And this is a kind of a sad thing as I see it. I'm thinking very strongly selling out. I don't want to retire, but what can I do? I'm getting the age that I know I can't go on forever. And if I sell it, the income tax will take most of it. Now, my wife would be better off if I just had a little lousy pension to leave her than to leave her here at the setup like this, because they come in on her and take the cream of it to pay the government. All she'd have left is some ranches, and when people say, well, he's gone, she's got to sell. So we have some problems, and we can't keep it and we can't let go of it. Much more than a lot of people think. If you got a herd of cattle and you've got a farm or something, you're really sitting on the road. We've got a bear by the tail too. We have to line the trucks up ahead of time. They're busy. The truckers are busy. We just hire these local boys who truck cattle all the time. And we have to have them separated out there, the mothers and their calves, because we can't come in. They're all stirred up, and you can't get the right calves with the right cows. So we go out a few days ahead and have them split up for the way we're going to put them on the mountains for the summer. And we truck to one ranch 1 week. Now this year the storms have come, and I'm quite sure we'll trail them in. Now, regardless of the years we truck them, it still upsets them. And I'd much sooner drive them. When we land at the ranch, the cattle are all settled down, and when you truck them, it seems like when you truck them, they're all stirred up and tired, you know, and when you land hit the ranch, they'll sail the passengers down and walk for 2-3 days. They're all unsettled. They're not used to it. It's not their way of living. But the thing is, I ride the highways. I have a lot of time to think. I ride a lot alone, and I have a time to think. And I fought in the World's War. I was just a kid, and I saw men killed, plenty of them. And I was very unlearned. I've been raised out here in peace and plenty, and what did I care about? I didn't have to study. I had all I wanted, a good saddle horse, and open range, and good eats, and a good place to sleep. I was very happy. Well, I got over there, and men began to die, and your life seemed... I didn't want to die. I was young. And I said, if there be a God, why don't he come down and stop all of this? You see, I was a little like Lucifer. I was going to take the free agency from men. If I can stop the devil every time he makes a bad move, then I'm sitting pretty. I haven't got any tests. Don't you see? How can the Lord test me without giving me free agency? And I'm thankful I was raised a poor man's son. If I'd been a rich man's son, I wouldn't have been worth killing, because I'd been like a grasshopper. I'd have hopped the summer away, and that'd been the end of me. And I find out that growth and development is through overcoming things. And in the good book it says, he that overcometh will sit down in my kingdom. Pretty good doctrine to me, because if you can't overcome your weakness and so on, the Lord can't use you. And the devil wouldn't have you, because he wants somebody to carry out his work. And when Adam and Eve was kicked out of the Garden of Eden, he said, he cursed the earth for their sake. Sounds kind of crazy, doesn't it? But it's the truth. When he cursed the earth and thorns and thistles, and they had to get out and make it, they began to grow and depend on the Lord and humble themselves. Up to this time, they walked and talked with him in the Garden of Eden. mind past 70 years, and I know that pretty soon I've got to take the journey. All right, then when I take the journey, is this the last of my wife and these kids that I've loved and nourished, and we think the world of one another? Will it be heaven over there without the family unit coming home? To us, that's the greatest thing we've got. The greatest wealth we've got is our kids and our grandchildren. We have no other wealth. This stuff will vanish. Probably won't last one generation when I'm gone. This cattle herd and all will be gone. But they'll still be here, and the things that I have implanted in their hearts. We have loose cattle, we have black leg, we have to inoculate these calves. We have the scars, these calves gets the scars. There's diarrhea, they get diarrhea and they'll die from it. And we have to catch these calves and doctor them. It isn't all sunshine, we have a lot of problems. We have a lot of problems with poison. On the ranges there's different poison. And in the mountains up here we have what we call a larkspur, or a delphine. It's a flower. These cattle getting this delphine, it's nothing out of the ordinary to kill 2 or 3 or 4 of those, 5 of those cows. Calving time in the spring of the year, we have the cold, bleak storms come and kill the calves. The coyotes work on us. We have a lot of problems. Yes, we have trouble with the poachers, too. Now, we have quite an attitude in our country that people just go get it. They go up here, pretend to be riding around. They'll go up here on the ranches, and these 300-pound calves, fat and fine, and these poachers go in there. We call them poachers. It's nothing more but people stealing your calves. And they'll watch around, and they see the coast is clear. They can knock one of these calves over and throw it in the back of their pickup and cover it up, and the way they go, they claim up they're just up there looking around, looking at the deer and so on, and they kill deer as well as calves. But if they can't get a deer, well, then the next bed is a good calf. I was born in a little town in southern Utah called Parowan. Very pleasant little place, a lot of fine people and good neighbors. We had good schools, churches. It's a fine place to live and among the fine people here. When I see you guys come out of the city down there, out of places like Watts, where you've got turmoil and trouble, and the colored people doing it very ignorantly, they mean well, probably. for they're destroying the very things that be a blessing to them. If they want to come up higher, why don't they do the things that'll bring them up higher? They can get their schooling, and any man will be respected if he comes up. But you're in turmoil. You're not happy. People down there don't know whether their homes are going to be looted or not. We go home here at nights and go to bed without even locking the door. We don't have to. We live in a community where people are pretty law-abiding. These people that are putting out a sacrifice to do what's right.
Mike Kenyon out to shoot number 3. 2, whoa.
Mike Kenyon is the last one in the ladder. Made time. Mike Kenyon is out of the last place in the ladder.
There he goes. He looks like though he's going to the races. We better enter him in the corner. Well, he's going to the races again. I think they thought they had a horse that wouldn't let him down this time, but they did. Now, give him a good hand. He's making efforts to try to put on the show. And it certainly wasn't his fault to be doing that time.
We meet a lot of traffic, especially in July, and we have a lot of problems with the traffic. So many of the tourists are very anxious when they see a herd of cattle that size. They want to get out and photograph them, and the first thing you know, you're trailing up the canyon, and here some guy pops up right in lead of you at the Kodak, and the whole herd stops. You can't be too rude with them, and you know you're in trouble. When they come up from the rear, if they come up back of us and get out and take the photographs, it doesn't bother. But when we meet them coming down the canyon and we're going up, we really have some rough times. The cattle push off in the jungles, and if it wasn't for good men, we'd lose half of them. But you get a new herd of cattle, let's say you bought a bunch of cattle that have never been on the trail, you're really in trouble. They won't go good. They don't know where they're going, they don't drive. But these cows, the reason we try to keep the same cows and bring younger cows in all the time, they'll lead out and take the trail. These cattle have been over it every year, and they know they're going back to their summer range. They know those summer ranges are very good, lush feed up there, and as their calves come on, we keep so many calves every year, so they're always acquainted with the trail, and it takes a lot of the trouble out of the trail. They know right where they're going. They're quite anxious to get back to the summer range. When we see our neighbor in trouble, moving their livestock or needing help in busy times, we try to help one another out. I'm glad when I was a boy that I was taught I was my brother's keeper. Now the people laugh at the Book of Mormon. Some guy told me, he said, "Why, we don't believe the Book of Mormon." And I said, "Have you ever read it?" "No, we don't believe it." And I said, "I don't blame you for not believing it. You never read it. You'd be stupid if you said you believe something you never read." The Book of Mormon was preserved to bring forth in our day and time. It was nothing in the world but a history of a people and the Lord's hand dealing with them, where they prospered when they obeyed the commandments and where they went to pot when they didn't. So we know, according to your Bible, and we have additional evidence that man has come from the world, the unseen world, as we call it, or from the spirit world. That Christ rose from the dead. He lived and died, and he's resurrected and appeared to many, not just one or two. So this thing to me isn't far-fetched. I believe as much as I'm going to live again as I believe I said here. So when I go back in the spirit world, I'll have the form and all of that of a man. I won't change. I'll still be just Guymon. I won't have any more than I put forth the effort here to get. This little body of mine will decompose and go back to old Mother Earth. But after all, it's just the tabernacle, the spirit in, the thing that makes me move and act and think. There's something different. This body is pretty dead when you take the spirit out of it. Just a piece of clay. And many false prophets shall arise and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world, for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come.